Assalamu alaikum, sisters and brothers. Sulaiman Rahim here. Messenger of the Covenant, breaker of the seven seals. Brothers and sisters, this is a new nation of Islam, the resurrected nation of Islam. We're told that the nation of Islam fall and then be resurrected by Joshua, Sulaiman, not Aaron. Aaron will be the one that caused the fall, Farrakhan. So we're going to discuss that. So welcome again to Sulaiman Rahim, Messenger of the Covenant, breaker of seven seals. And in the name of Allah, who came in the person of Master Muhammad, who raised up his messenger, Elijah Muhammad, who prepared the way for the Messenger of the Covenant, Sulaiman. Welcome. Let's bring it out for your audience. This is the Black Alert segment of the Fire Zone. Welcome. Hey, brothers and sisters, let's acknowledge. 1 second, brothers and sisters. Let's acknowledge our tribulation, 400 years of tribulation. They want us to forget, but we're not going to forget. They want to call it slavery, call it whatever they want to call it. It doesn't change the fact of what they did to us and continue to do. The Holocaust, not slavery. Slavery was just a small portion of what it was, the economic side of it. Maximum profit, minimum overhead. They gave you the least amount they could give you to keep you working. So they fed you, literally, they fed you shit. They fed you pork maws and chitlins, which is shit. Stuff they used to throw away before they drug you over here. They said, we're not throwing it away anymore, we're going to feed it to them. And they fed you just like they fed the hogs, through a trial, no fork, no spoon, no sitting at the table. They put a trial there. If you don't want to accept it, then look at your demon friend, your best friend Oprah. She got a whole series out there called, I think, Slave Letters. They explain the whole process. They put a trial out there just like they give pigs, cows. They fed you there. And to the extent they even cooked the chillins, they didn't remove the shit. It's cooking there, they might have boiled a little bit and put it, and you ate it like that, or you eat it all. And if you didn't eat, they would knock your teeth out, put a funnel in your mouth and force you to eat. Because you was going to work. You wasn't going to starve yourself to death. 24/7, 365, nearly 500 years, constant terror. How do you maintain a system like that? You maintain through terror. They terrorize us, literally terrorize us, maximum terror for over 400 years. America is a terrorist nation. It went forth to kill, steal, and destroy. They stole this country, they killed its inhabitants, and they brought us up and destroyed us. Exactly what said the devils would do. So, you want to forget it, it's up to you. You want to forgive it, it's up to you. But I can tell you right now, you're in the forgiving mode, then you're going to be in the same boat with them. You want to forgive them, okay? Get over to them. See? Give them 100%. Give them all the way. Just go suffer the consequence that they're going to suffer. Because every action is consequence. Every action is opposite equal reaction. There's no blood of Jesus going to wipe away your consequence. You believe that if you want to. That's up to you. But 400, nearly 500 years of total horror. Murder, rape, disembowelment, dismemberment, burning, torture, 24/7, not never let up for nothing, not birthday, holidays, anything. You know, he was under constant terror. That's the only way you can maintain a system like that. You have to be constant terror. Washington and Jefferson were terrorists and rapists and pedophiles. And they're going to glorify those people? Well, they glorify them because they know they had in their heart in the same way. That's why they glorify those people. And now chickens come home to roost. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that, brothers and sisters. But don't forget, and we're going to continue until the author, the cause of this is no more. We're going to constantly remind you. Those of you who don't want to be reminded, that's fine. You can be left behind with them. But we're telling you the truth. They want to just, oh, slavery. No, that's a small portion of it. They want to just diminish it. See, whitewash it. Oh, slavery. Everybody had slaves. This wasn't, nobody ever went this far. Not even close. Not even close. Turn you to animals. Took 64 years to do it. Turn you to Negro butts. 64 years to do it. To not think, not ask questions, right? Not do whatever master tell you to do, no matter what. No matter what. See? That was you was trained to do. Took 64 years to do it. Separate you from your family as children. Your father and mother separated from everything, so you had no knowledge of anything, took your language, everything from you, and taught you as an animal, told you as an animal, and like I told you not to think, and they ask questions. Just do whatever master tell you to do, no matter what. And so the first Negro bus came off assembly line in 1619. From 1555, they brought you over here to 1619, restored Joseph. First one come off, Amos Richardson. See, stamp you, we're stamped. That's your brand, but you call it a name. See, Amos Richardson, and they sold you to Master Jackson, you came in Amos and Jackson. That was not your name. If they had 1,000 slaves on there, all of them had the same last name because they all had the same brand. When they moved to sold you somebody else, their brand changed. But you walk around happily with those because you've been trained to do that. They taught you. They programmed you to do that. And that's how they know something's wrong with your programming. Your program is failing. If you change your name, you don't use that name anymore. That's one indication. If you don't want to listen to Christianity anymore, you don't go to church anymore, that's another indication. Then they send terror butts in. That's their children. Their black-faced children. Through rape. The scriptures tell us that half the blacks in America are demons. Terror butts. The whole life is to terrorize you, to compromise you, to neutralize you, to terrorize you, right? To lie to you, deceive you. See? Because you wasn't easily deceived by them because they look different, but you was easily deceived by the ones who look like you. Because no, you should act like me. You should love master. What's that preacher tell you? He's still telling you that today. Love master. Do what the master tell you to do. See? Love master no matter what. If you don't, you love master. Hey, master, you go to hell forever. No. And still telling you that? Because they're all demons. So we're going to move on, brothers and sisters. This might be a lengthy presentation. I've been very reluctant to do it. Again, this is Daniel. I gave you part 1. I was going to do part 2. But I'm in it now. I convinced myself to do part 1. So I'm going to go ahead and do part 2. Brothers and sisters, you better put your seatbelts on because I don't think most of you are going to be ready for this. In fact, I'm sure you're not going to be ready for it. Those of you that study the angel, you may not be ready for it either. I told you, Daniel is a whole nother subject. Daniel's a whole nother subject. See? Daniel's different. Daniel is different. Okay. Very complicated, very powerful. It supports everything the angel says, but it goes in some details that you're going to be very uncomfortable with. But it's time to be revealed because it's about to happen soon. been mentioning these things in the angel, but not the kind of detail I'm going to talk about today. Let's see here. Not the kind of detail I'm going to talk about today. Okay, brothers and sisters, let's go into the presentation. Oh, let me say a couple of things first. Let me make a couple changes here. Now, as I've been telling you, brothers and sisters, as I've been telling you, geez, I'll change here. As I've been telling you, this, hold on a second, we'll change here. No adjustment, okay, that's good. I've been telling you the scriptures, they're really software that's giving you to upload for the time frame that scripture covers. Because your mind is software, your brain's your hardware. So it gives you software, right? It's just like crime was software to get the Arabs, right? The operating system, so to speak, right? To deal with that situation that lasted for 1,000 years, and they were successful. Those uploaded it. That's what scriptures are. They're actually software. And those uploaded, they're successful because they have the knowledge, right, to deal with that period of time that book was revealed for. So they have power to move into the future because it gives them the knowledge to convert the present into the future. And so they move into the future. Because we're time travelers. We're constantly moving, but those who are not moving into the future, they get stuck in the past, and the graveyard is full of people that's stuck in the past. That's the disbelievers. Because they, for the most part, 90% of the reason why the disbelievers, because they don't have their hardware cannot upload that software. And that's part of the reason why you said about the story about Aaron being in the wilderness 40 some years, because they wanted to get rid of those people because they could not upload, right, the information, the software necessary for them to move into to hereafter, to the promised land. They didn't want them coming because they would just, it was a problem. They wouldn't be able to handle it. See? Because it's going to be very complicated. It's going to be very powerful. Your mind has to, see, we move into the future, more powerful brains, more powerful minds. It's like what do you call it, culling. It's like in the animal world, right? Those weakest animals, they don't make it because those ones that the lions take down, like the zebras, the lions take down, so it keeps the herd strong. So to keep our minds powerful and strong, right? We have to, the weaker ones, we can't, they have to be left behind. See? And so that's what that is. So the thing is, the angel is so powerful that only the most powerful minds, right? I keep saying minds, because the angel is the mind. Most powerful brains can upload it. And that means they move into the future. See? Because we're the creators. And that's how powerful your mind has to be. So those people that's not doing it and they're rejecting or cursing out, calling names, because their brains getting out of it. So that's why they act like that, because they don't act with knowledge. They're coming with science. Say, oh man, well, your science is wrong. I checked your mathematics, and mathematics don't gel. No, nigga, damn it, you hater. See, because that's because they can't deal with it. So, bro, don't get upset about that. See, because even if they made it into they wouldn't be able to handle it. Be too much for them. Just like, look at this technology right here. You think somebody from 100 years ago could deal with this? All this complication stuff? I mean, you got people here right now can't deal with this technology stuff that they have, and this is very basic stuff. This is nothing compared to what we have. You got people right here live right now, they're totally confused with it. Can't handle it. See? Can't handle it. So hope you understand. So don't get upset about that because, or they acting like that because They just cannot comprehend it. It's confusing to them. They can't make any sense. It's the same ones that go to school and they tell about calculus. They say, which is calculus? What's that? A calculator or something? They have no idea. And they can't even get through the basic schools. They can't get through basic math. They can't get through basic algebra. So you know they can't get through this. And it's way more advanced than that. See? So if you go out there and start talking that, they want to get in a fight. We never talk that stuff, man. Let's talk about the NBA. Let's talk about some statistics. Let's talk about the fact that what's his name? LeBron or whatever it is, man, he is become a billionaire. Yeah. That came up through hitting me on the gym. I said, yeah, right. He made that money selling sneakers, overpriced sneakers to underprivileged children. These black kids that can't afford it. He made it big. That's good. That's a great thing. That's how they're all demons. He's like, I got a billionaire. Yeah, you sell overpriced shoes, and those kids getting killed over those shoes, right? Shoes for $500, $600, $200, $300. They ain't worth more than $5, $10. That's how much it costs to make them. And you got a billionaire. You proud of that? Sick people. So we can move on, bro. Just like I said, put your seatbelt on. See? So I'm alive with it. I'm going live. I am live with one station. I'm not live with another because they keep shutting it down. So we have backups. We're going to get this message out, brothers and sisters. So this is a Tekel Ii. And it's going to be a rough ride. And if you notice, let's see. We'll see. Let's move in. Let's move into the presentation. Okay, let me see. Let me make sure I got this right now. Got a lot of stuff going on here. Oh, that's right. That's right. And okay. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. 1 second, brothers and sisters. Mm-hmm. Okay. Here we go. Now we got people getting angry. Call me. They got to stop because they see me broadcast like I'm broadcasting. I'm broadcasting like this because some of these brothers and sisters, I'll be physically there. You take that one to the bank. Because Lion Farrakhan, he's got 3 feet in the grave, but he ain't gonna die that quick. He got another couple of hard days going for him. He's one of the most hated people in the Bible, aside from Lucifer himself, who we're gonna talk about. So yeah, hey guys, what's doing that? People, you know, these same people are saying that they don't know. See, I was there when this temple was established. I sold papers 300 a week to make this happen. I was performing at Muhammad Speak newspaper. Right? I pulled security for the minister and for everything else, covered security for his plane, everything else. So I was there, I put work in to make this happen. So you need to shut the F up, nigga. Stupid people. Okay, let's move on, brothers and sisters. Oh, he said that, look, we ain't playing with you, brothers and sisters. We're not playing with you. It's over for you. You thought this was a game? You're going to find out. Time is up. Time's up. Your time's up. It's like you drop an egg off the Empire State Building or Sears Tower. You don't have to stick around, see when head hit the ground. You know it's gone. It's toast. And that's where you are. You're in free fall. Just a matter of time to hit the ground. Okay. Let's move on here. So. Okay. I'm going to briefly go over the things that we covered before, briefly, because I already got presentation explains it. Basically go over it. I'm not gonna waste, I'm not gonna take this time with it because I'm gonna get to the main point. Except put seatbelts on because it's gonna be some hard rolling in a minute. Okay, now we know about this statute. Now the statute, it says gold, silver, brass, and iron. Now the reason why it's in that like that because the gold and the silver, first the gold, it says it'd be the gold kingdom, and then the silver kingdom would take over the gold kingdom. And then you'd have the brass, right? And the iron that's going to take over the silver kingdom. But and then you got at the bottom down there, you got the 10 toes. That's the structure of the last kingdom, right? And then, because all these will be part of that kingdom, but they will be dominated. So the gold, the reason why it's in that sequence, because the gold, brass is a fool's gold. You can polish your brass, and you might fool somebody, make things gold. Same thing with silver, right? You got silverware, but that's not silverware, it's iron. So you can polish your iron enough, somebody might make it silver, right? That's what it is. So in other words, it's telling you somebody's pretending they're gold, and somebody's pretending silver. So we got false evil over here pretending they're us, we're the gold. That nation, gold nation, was a nation that ruled the whole world. There's no nation on the planet right now that you know of that rule the entire world. They got 2 world empires. God can make America and Britain has 2 world empires. They never totally can rule the whole world. So that's us, right? Then you got this. And notice this statue has no hands. They get that wrong too. Says the stone was carved a mount without hands. No, that statue, it doesn't have hands. It's carved that, and that's the gold that the remnant of the end will come and crush all of it. That's us. The remnant of that gold of our nation, right? That was in captivity, says that will crush, hit the toes and crush all those kingdoms, right? So at the bottom down there we see the leopard and we see the eagle. Now a leopard has 4 heads and 4 wings, right? That represents China, and I'm cutting to the chase on this. You want to go look at it in more detail, go look at previous presentations. Brown with yellow spots. And the reason why they got 4 wings and 4 heads because it's the most populous nations, right? And the heads represents authoritarian, and wings represents democratic. So China is authoritarian, while India is democratic. That represents India and China. A leopard, brown, a yellow with brown spots. And the eagle on the other side of it, right? Has wings, so it's democratic. That's American Britain. That's God can make God. That represents the 10 toes at the bottom. Right? That'll be the kingdom. At the end, when destruction comes, that'll be those that control any kind of kingdoms. Right? He said right now, because America is preeminent, and that China and India is on the rise. Right? That's 10 toes. And I put Africa, that represents silver, right? False Israel represents the brass. And you got the 2 legs, Eastern and Western Europe. Okay, there's a leopard, right? And we're going to explain this leopard in a little more detail as we get a little further in here. And there's your eagle. Okay, there's your 10 toes, 10 wings, right? The leopard 8, and eagle 2. That's 10 toes. The 2 big toes are the eagle. The rest of the toes represents the leopard. Go backwards here. Okay, here you go. And you say they're together. That's 10 toes here. Okay, but at this point, eagle's still preeminent on top. Now I'm talking about this tree. I'm going through this quickly because this will make sense in a few minutes. Now, the tree, there was this tree. Remember I told you about the gold and the brass, right? Okay. Oops. We're talking about this tree. And this tree, remember, this tree, just like the gold, it covers the whole earth. That means the tree represents the gold. You see that little remnant at the end? That's the stone that crushed all of them. That's that tree was cut down to a stump. That's us. And it was bound by a ring of brass and a ring of iron. See? Well, I told you what they represent. That means we'll be cut down to nothing, right? With no power or anything, and we'll be controlled by impressed by the iron and the brass, which is Europeans and false Israel, called the Jews. That's exactly what it is. They try to, well, oh, we got nothing to do with that. We. No, they financed the so-called slave trade. The Jews did, right? They was one of the biggest slaveholders. Some had as much as 1,000 slaves or more. See, but now they're trying to wash hands. Oh, no. Daniel explains it. So we're gonna move on, brothers and sisters. I said I have a presentation, explain it more in detail. I want to get to my main subject here. Okay? So that's the situation we are right now. Controlled by them. They control you. Who controls your image in Hollywood? Who makes you look like fool in Hollywood? You're like a clown. Giving that the demons giving you an image of fools and everything. Because those are demons, those black-faced devils. They're the ones doing that. They're gonna like a fool all over the place. That ain't us. They're the ones killing our people, terrorizing our people out there in Chicago, hating all that kind of stuff. Because they're devils. There's black-faced devils. They look like us, fuck us, but they got that nature. They're the ones doing that stuff. We don't do that. So don't let Farrakhan tell you, me weak, all that stuff. He's talking about his own source. He's a demon. His father's a devil. Google it. He gave you a picture of Percival Clark. You have to bear with me, brothers and sisters, because, like I said, this is new technology. A lot of systems here, several computers. And I keep up with it. All right. So again, now they talk about the lion. That's the lion again. Because remember, the lion, when Nebuchadnezzar was cut down, he represents gold. He was forced to live like a lion, like a beast. See? And it tells you the lion had to be lifted up, right? Like lifted up on his feet, because he was at the end of time, right? Be lifted up and given his mind back. His mind was taken from him. That's the engine, man. The software. That's your mind. See? And the wings was plucked off. That means American Britain, they had no control of them anymore. Because right now, we still in their control. We right here in there. Why are we not? You're free. You're here in their country. We're our own nation, but we're here in their country under their control. And that's going to be broken. But Farrakhan said, we're going to stay here. We're going to deal with that in a minute. See? So it tells you, the wings are plucked off. That means American Britain, the control of us will be broken, right? And our mind was stood, and our minds were given back to us, the angel. Okay, that's what that's about. When we get into this, boss, you have to really pay close attention. Now I'm going to talk about the riddle. Now this is going to be very interesting here. See, this is going to be very interesting. All of it's going to be very interesting. You got to slow down. You got to really take time to pay attention to this here. Now, if you remember the one I did yesterday, it said many Tekel Ii parson. Now, why did it say that? But you look at translation. They say parson. Some say you got the UH in there. So why does some have UH and some don't? But really, it doesn't make any difference. That's how powerful Daniel is. Because if they try to corrupt it, they still can't hurt it. Because they have to understand to corrupt it. Somebody either puts UH in or took it out. It doesn't matter. Because what you understand is puzzle work, you can throw it out either way. That's how powerful this book is, because it was sealed. It's sealed so tight they can't touch it. So because obviously somebody saying it wrong. Because that one's got UH in there and one don't have it, right? That means somebody's wrong, but it can't be both. See? So I gave you the more complicated one, but I'm gonna give you a simple one today, because I don't want nobody to come back and say, hey man, well you simplifying. No, I'm gonna give you both. I'm gonna show you that UH meant nothing. See, they try to who stuck it in there, or what was in there originally or whatever. It doesn't matter, you see. So just go look. I mean, most translations have parson. A lot more, but a lot of them have the UH. So look at it and say, well, which one is it? See? That's the problem with Daniel, because it's hard to get a translator Daniel. It's hard to get a translator one for that one. It's easier for the so-called New Testament. Old Testament is difficult unless you speak Hebrew or something. Okay, so we talk about this. That doesn't change, because many numbered twice. It's just twice, it means numbered, but there's more to it than that. But I'm not going to go into that kind of detail because it's not necessary right here. And in the end, you have to pay attention to the end, says, because that's the result of them being numbered, their kingdom will come to an end. Okay. So We're going to define these things, brothers and sisters. That's not going to be the issue. The issue is going to be the analysis of it. Then Tekel. Now, what does that mean? See, Tekel says you weighed the balance and you found wanting. Okay? Well, you have Belshazzar and Belteshazzar. And the only difference is a TE. Both had the EL. But, so that's what Tekel is. Was weighed the balance. But Belshazzar was found wanting. See, he wanted to be like Belteshazzar, but he was found wanting. That's Lucifer. You understand? Because it says, I want to set my king, set my throne on the far north. I want to be like the Most High. I'm going to cut the chase. That's Obama. You're going to find out in a minute. So I lost 9% audience fine. You promise this is going to happen, but you know, the sun's coming up whether you like it or not. See? So that's what's going on there. Because you're going to find out in a minute. We're going to go into that. That's what I'm going out. It's going to be very uncomfortable for some of you. See? Because he's very hidden. I told you, he's all over the scripture, but hidden in a way that you can't see him unless you have him. Absolutely know what you're talking about. You really got to break those seals. Because he's one of the hidden people. Right? And he's very well hidden. So he wants to be, so I'm going to be like the Most High. See? That's why he's like the Son of Man. He wants to be like the Son, because he's the one in chapter 1. They call him Jesus in chapter 1 of Revelations. That's not Jesus. That's the devil. That's Lucifer. He said he's like the Son of Man. If you like something, it means you ain't it. But they say, oh, it's Jesus. No, see, they can't even recognize that. Plus, Jesus had white woolly hair. He had feet like bronze, right? No, that's an African black man. That's Lucifer. That's Obama. See? So they can't get that right. And Farrakhan can't get it right either. He said that's Jesus too. He don't know. Because he's a demon anyway. That's what I'm cutting to the chase, bro. So I'm not going to pussyfoot this one. Here's with that one. Anyway, so we cut to I'll have to cut because we're going to get some deep stuff here in a minute. I mean, very, very, very. Over here. And then parsing. See? Okay. So forget about that UH stuff, right? See, because this is a simpler way, but it still comes the same thing. Because it's parsing. Now, what does parsing mean? So you had many, right? Your king has been numbered and brought to an end. And you got to concentrate on because that's the result of it. And then each one of those many has 2 E's in it. Many has double E's in it, right? And then you have Tekel has double E's in it also. Then you get a parson, right? He knows that parson, right? It has to have a double E also. Because it's got to be consistent with the rest. Why? Daniel changes it. He said, no, something wrong with that word because it doesn't fit in the puzzle. So he changed it. But remember, his change is part of the puzzle itself. His changing the puzzle is part of it. Otherwise, what's the point of the puzzle? They will explain to you right off. Then what's the point of putting it in there? I mean, what you going to learn? I mean, the teacher give you a test, they give you the answer at the same time. What's the point of that? So that's part of the puzzle. Because this gets very deep what they talk about here, right? See, I had to really take this 3-4 times, right? Because I said, well, okay, they answer the puzzle, what's the point? We need to study it if they want to tell you what it is. But that's part of the puzzle itself. So we got parsing. So he said, okay, you take many, MN, the letters follow each other. So you take parsing, it says, well, I got to use 3 letters that follow each other. So I got to use 2 letters, got to be E's. So P, R, S follow each other. R is after P, S is after R. Right? The rest of them don't follow that sequence. Right? Okay. See, R doesn't, I mean, R follows, anyway. That's the case, right? So then that's how he comes with Perez, because he got PRS. They follow each other. PRS, right? So he takes that, put 2 E's in it, just like the rest of them. Then that's how you get Perez. Perez. Okay? Oh, I'm going to take a second here, because I didn't put that here. I meant to, but I forgot. You know, they have the Darius in here. Now, you go check this out. Darius, you have to find who his father's Farius. I can never pronounce that word right. It sounded like something like Alfonso. Elijah Muhammad said Master Muhammad's name was Master Farah Muhammad's father name was Alfonso. It sounds something like that, right? But now he was a king, a great king in the Middle East. He controlled up Egypt, I mean Ethiopia, all the way up to I guess the India. Called. So he just tells you that he's a great king. He's an original man, great king, right? But his mother was a white Jew. Because Darius in there, see, Michael is matched from him, and also Darius is also, because he's the one that takes down Babylon. So I thought I mentioned that. So you go and look. Because when you read there, it tells you his name is Darius. Then you have to go read, I think, in the book of Esther, right? Because Esther is his mother in Scripture. She's a white Jew. She was married to his father, and he was the result. And that's where Master Muhammad's father, original, but his mother, it's Caucasian, or they say a white Jew in there. Okay. That's where the Medes come in. That. We don't mention that because that's like a side way into that, but I'm not going to get into that, but I would be forever. Anyway, here's that's how you get to Paris. Okay. And what does all that mean? Okay, so now Paris, see, it's like, because many, it's like Paris, all of them have double E's, and now Paris looks like Tekel. Because you got many Tekel, then the next word has to be consistent with all the other ones, because you got all of them have double E's in it, right? But you got two minis, right? So now you got two other words, and they have to be, both minis are four letters, this can be 8 letters, just like 5 letters, just like Tekel is. The reason why Daniel is a whole different way of looking at things. Now, some of your minds, like, I had a more difficult time with Daniel than I did with Angel. But the reason why they have those two books because they work together. But some people, right, think more like the way they wrote Daniel than they do. So they might have an easier problem with Daniel than they would have with the Angel. I had a harder problem with Daniel than they would with Angel. Because, I mean, Daniel was a headache. Because, you got to concentrate with Angel. But Daniel, man, you got to, like, get with the microscope, get in there with that one. Because, I mean, every word means something. Every word means something. Then you're not sure if you got a transliteral. So then you're kind of hesitant. But I solved that problem. Okay, here you have, this is what you got. This is what you end up with. See? Now, I don't know if you know what a fulcrum is. When you get on a sliding board, right? Not sliding board. What they call it? I forget. Don't call them sliding boards. What do they call those things? Anyway, I've done years. Times, you get on one side. Anyway, you get on both, right? One person bring one up, one down, whatever, right? They might call it slide. Wow. I've been a kid in 70 years, right? So the thing in the middle, that's called the fulcrum that you balance between. So if they move that fulcrum, then you have leverage because the one on the longer side, he could weigh less, but he can lift up the ones on the higher one because the board is longer on his side, right? So that's called a fulcrum, that thing in the middle. So in this case, Tekel, the K is the fulcrum, because it says you balance, you weigh in the balance. He's weighed Belshazzar against Belteshazzar, and it says you found one thing. That means you don't have that TE. Belteshazzar has it, Belshazzar has. So you don't have it, you have more attributes than you have. And it's more detailed than that, but I'm just giving you simple. So that's the fulcrum. But you also have another fulcrum. The Tekel is the fulcrum between many, and Perez. That's very complicated. Because it's the middle between the two. Because you have to listen to what they say, but that's the fulcrum between the two. Many, and Perez. But K is the fulcrum between Tekel, but Tekel itself is the fulcrum between many, and Perez. Right? Somehow I think that thing's called a sliding board, but it doesn't make any sense that you don't slide on it. I'm saying that's what you call it. But I These days I think logically, and logic don't make any sense to be called that. So that's why it's not making any sense to me. But I think that's what it was called, a slider board. It's a board, but you don't slide on it. I don't think it's thinking logically. I think that's what it's called. But logically it doesn't make any sense. So now in my old 33 years, but everything has to make a logical sense. And I remember a lot of stuff I forget. When I go back and try to remember it, I try to use logic, and it doesn't make any sense. That could have been what they said, because it doesn't make. And I found that most of the stuff that I've been told and I'm familiar with and remember wasn't logical. So therefore, I forget it because it doesn't make any sense. This thing here, slider board. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called, but it doesn't make any sense. You don't slide on it. Anyway, somebody tell me I'm right and wrong. You know, we need to get out of here, brothers and sisters, because whole language, everything about this place is total disaster. Okay, let's. Now see here. Now the B said that D comes from the N, says your nation comes to your kingdoms come to an end. That's how D gets the means, because they changed the N there to a D. See, I'm going to try to explain it a little bit in the previous presentation. Tekel and the Persians. Now, when you say parson, right? Let's see if I show you on the next slide here. Yeah, I do. I show it there. When it says parson, see, P-R-S-I-N, remember, it says your kingdom was divided. So you had to divide that word up. That word is divided. And he did it. He divided it with P-R-S and then an A-I-N. And the A-I-N goes into, that's how you get the Persians. The A-I-N is over there. This is very soft stuff, brothers and sisters. I know you, I told you, you think this is difficult, you wait till you get a little further into this. This requires a lot of study. You gotta pay attention to everything. And I'm not really telling you all about this right now, because we can explain every little atom way to this, but we'll take too much time to do it, and plus probably get lost in more. But you can see the general pattern there. See, so he had Perez, so he got to figure out what all this means. See, he got the D from N, because it says your kingdoms come to an end, and then it says you weigh the balance. That's why you got the T-E and the L, because you're different between E-L and T-L and T-E in Tekel, in Belshazzar, Belteshazzar, and he got the Perez, right? Because he had the 5 letters that were consecutive, and, well, not consecutive, but you understand what I'm saying, with these, and then he turned that to Persia, because he had to split that word into 2 parts. Parts into 2 parts. See? And that's how you get Persians. So you got the Medes, Tekel, and the Persians. Remember, Tekel is the fulcrum between the two, the Medes and the Persians. So it says your kingdom will be divided. See, it's divided, and remember, you're on 2 sides of Tekel. So one's on one side, Tekel, right? The balance. That's, so you get to the Medes, on the other side, Persians. That's it, brothers. I'm just telling you. You think this is, wait, you have a problem with this? You have to get your aspirin out or whatever, ibuprofen, whatever, because you're about to have a serious headache in a minute. But that's what's going on right here. See, because I told you, Tekel's in the fourth. So your king be divided and give the Mede and the Persians. Now, if you remember the well, I think I showed you the next slide. Remember talking about the tree, right? See, okay. I might as well say so. We're going to talk about it a little more in a minute, right? But the Medes represent, remember, because we was between the gold, the brass and the iron, because we was that stuff. That's another way of looking at it. And now it's the Medes and the Persians, because the Persians, that's what the Persians are, except mention Europeans. So they think Persia, and when they talk about Persia in Daniel, they're talking about Iran or Persia. Well, it's sealed. Why would it be tell you? They can tell you it's not sealed, and they're gonna tell you what it is. No, it's talking about Europeans, specifically America, the king of Persia as America. And the Medes represent the false Israel. See, and we're right in between them. And the bands, the bands are circling, right, that tree. We the tree. They say, well, how are we the tree? We see it in a minute. No, I said we're tree behind Tekel, they were tree. Because Tekel represents what? Belshazzar and Belteshazzar. Well, we know we Belshazzar. We know we Belteshazzar. But who's Belteshazzar? Who's Belshazzar? If we Belteshazzar, who's Belshazzar? And I said, they're the Africans. They're the Levites. And they're in here with us. So we're both in here. That's why they're in the middle. Tekel, and so Belshazzar, and we're all here together. The Levites and the seed of Abraham. And we're surrounded by the gold, the brass and the iron. America and the Jews. They're the ones controlling us. I told you, you're in for a rough ride, brothers and sisters. But I have to go ahead. I've been reluctant to talk about this. I got a book that I published 30 years ago. I'm talking about this. I've been very reluctant to talk about Daniel. And I think right now I convince myself to talk about it because you're going to see this in a few minutes. And then it's going to make sense to you because you'll see it in Technicolor, HD, right in front of your face. Stuff you never thought you would see, you're going to see. It tells you in chapter 17 that one that was the 8th or the 7th, that's talking about Obama again. It says those that worship him and everything, their name is not in the Lamb's book, right? And the other thing too, right? We're going to talk about it in a minute, so let me jump the gun here a little bit. See? Obama took him, said he was the Messiah. We got him on tape. He took Obama to be the Messiah. Got him on tape. Stand it. Because Obama, he's like Master Farah Muhammad, because he got a black father and a white mother. But his father is a Levite. So he's like, that's Lucifer. He was like the Son of Man. That's what it said in chapter 1. He was like the Son of Man. But he wasn't, because you're like, you're not. So he's like. And so Farrakhan took him. He's the Messiah. You got a rough ride coming, brothers and sisters. So get your aspirin out. I'll probably get some cruise missiles sent my way in a minute. Probably on the way down. Oh! Yeah, that'll never happen. And Medes, false Jews, brass, Persia. The Medes, that remembers false Jews, that's the brass. Persians, America, iron. Okay. Now we're going to cover a couple more things here. The ram to go. So I'm building up to something, brothers and sisters. The ram to go. So let's just start. Get ready, because here we go. Now I've been telling you that the goat is also a leopard. Now we see that this goat, it says coming from the west, eastward, this direction from the west. His feet not touching land, that means it's coming across the Pacific Ocean. And it comes against the ram. Remember the ram had 2 horns. That's that 2 wings of the eagle. America and Britain as Gog and Magog. And it hits that ram, it's angry with him. Hits that ram and takes the ram down. That means it's coming here. They're going to engage America on the west coast, and they're going to take America down. That's the goat. So who is the goat? They can't tell who the goat is. They can't tell who the goat is. We asked Farrakhan, who's going on there? Yeah. That's again Daniel. Because the goat is the leopard. See? And leopard here, I've been telling you the eyes, the leopard, eyes that goat. Well, in the unsealed Bible, it is an angel. But sealed Bible, right, is Obama. Now, when you look in there, you see that this horn, we're talking about this little horn, that's Obama, right? And he had eyes, right? And he had a mouth. See? So only two things have eyes there is Master Muhammad. I'm going to show you that in a minute. And the horn. Remember, he's like the Son of Man. See? So he has eyes like him, right? So it's telling you in Daniel that he's with the goat when they take down America. He's with them. And the angel will tell you the same thing too, because it says they had beasts, they had 7 heads and 10 horns, right? Just like the dragon did, but it had his crowns were upon his horns. That's a shift of power, because the crowns was upon the dragon, which represents the European countries. They had the power, the authority, but then they got to fight each other in Armageddon. That power shifted to the 10 horns, which represents China and India. They're becoming the powers, right? Then another one, beast had 7 heads, 10 horns also. But he had no crown. But he was with the beast that had the crowns on his horns. That means he would be with them. That means when the goat comes, that means Obama, because he's that other beast, he'll be with them when they come out and take out America, which will happen this year. Oh, okay. Why is it lost? No, I got a cruise missile on the way now. Right? Special delivery. Okay. So let's see if we can figure out who this goat is. Okay. Now the leopard, he was yellow with brown stripes. Yellow with brown spots. Right? That's represents Oriental countries, but they call them yellow. I don't know why they call them yellow, because this is white folks. But some of them, anyway. But yellow with brown spots, they just consider brown, right? So this is what this goat. Therefore, the male goat grew straight. This after he took down America, took down the ram. He crushed the ram, right? And the male goat grew very great, but when he became strong, the large horn, see, remember, the goat had that large horn between his eyes. Between his eyes. The large horn was broken in place, and 4 notable ones came up towards the 4 winds of heaven. See, 4 and 4. That's the number. He had 4 heads and 4. That's why it's very subtle. That gives you 8. See, 4 notable ones come up, right, towards the 4 winds. The notable ones represents the heads, authoritarian, right, notable. And winds represents the wings again. That's how you connect the goat to the leopard. See, because that horn breaks into 8 parts. Notable ones, 4, and then they're toward the 4 winds of heaven. Very subtle stuff. So anyway, that's how you know the goat. See, they don't. This stuff could be revealed really to the end. I just spoke about this 30 years ago, really, right? But it couldn't really be put out like I'm going to put out today. Now, 30 years ago, I didn't know about anything about Obama. I knew there would be this person that Obama represents. It would be an African person, right? His mother would be African, his mother would be Caucasian, and he'd become president of the United States. He'd have authority over the United States. I knew that. I got the book. I got a book about 30 years ago. But I didn't know what his name was. I didn't know until he showed up on the scene. And then you read the story about Jonah. He has an issue with that. Yeah, wasn't a problem. Here's a goat coming across the Pacific Ocean. That horn. Okay. And he's about to engage the ram, right, in America. Take him down. Okay. They say be angry, and China's getting more angry with America every day. And India's going to betray America. Because when America goes to war in Europe, they're going to have any friends. In fact, it says the NATO partners are going to turn against the two. It says all your lovers will depart from you. So here's the goat taking down the ram. Okay, so here we go. Now we get into analysis. This is where we get into it, brothers and sisters. So hold on. Now I show you Belshazzar, Belteshazzar. Belshazzar gold equals Shabazz. Belshazzar silver equals Levites. See? So that's what I said. Tekel, that's why I was in here together. See, we was here in America, bound by the iron and the brass together. See, that's why I talk about the gold and silver in Exodus. They're the silver, and we're the gold. The same thing as say here in Daniel, because those books work together. That's how you know who the gold is and who silver is. We tribe of Shabazz were living in southern Africa in the kingdom of Levites. That's why it says that tell Belshazzar his kingdom, right? Because what happened? As I've been telling you, we were living in Arabia. We was betrayed and pushed out of Arabia into the kingdom of the Levites, down in what you call Africa now, which is really southern part, because Arabia is Africa, northern Africa. We moved into the continent, what you call Africa right now. We moved into the land of the Levites. So they was in control, because we didn't take control of it. No, we was living there. We was like, yes, but we was under their control. See? So they was ruling, we was in, because Africa wasn't divided like it is now. So the Levites were in control. I mean, Belshazzar was under control. So his kingdom would be divided. See? So we'd be, when this happened, we'd be divided. So most of Africa is still there. We the ones came over here, but some Levites came with us. You understand? That's why I said your kingdom will be divided. So, because most Africa still, most Levites still there. Only some got caught up in the internet, right? So they're over here with us. See? That's what it's telling. Belshazzar, your kingdom will be divided. Because we was part of his kingdom. Those bells, bronzy bells. Kingdom of Belshazzar, Levi. Guys, I say, I'll just explain that. Okay. Now, Belshazzar is the bear they talk about. I'm not sure how much I'm going to go into detail about that. He's the bear they talk about because you say you got these beasts come up and said the first one's like a lion, right? And then you had the next one, right? It was like a bear. The next one's like, I believe, a leopard, right? And you said, but and the fourth one was diverse from the other ones. And so you think there's a fourth one all by itself. No. Because what's diverse? The other two was feline cats. The bear was the one that was different from the other two. That's Daniel. That's the fourth kingdom. That fourth, see, because after this war is over, Armageddon's over, there's going to be another kingdom. We're going to be safely in home in Arabia, but there's going to be another kingdom at that time. And that kingdom is going to attack us. And it says Obama will be in charge of that kingdom. There's another kingdom that's coming up after Europeans are taken down. I keep talking about the war of the latter days. I never really talked about it that much, right? But Daniel talks about it quite a bit. There's another king, because after they take down European countries, right? It says they're going to go to war with each other. We're going to talk about that in a minute. And then Obama's going to prevail because he's going to have non-Islamic Africa on his side. He's going to prevail in that war. They're going to have control of the whole planet except for us in the Middle East. Have control of the whole planet except for us in the Middle East. And that's when it says, well, we take them down and we got the whole thing. And that's what got to be that final war, the final one. See? That's what it says, Magical Muhammad's going to put something on, it's going to make their skin fall off their flesh. So Belshazzar is the bear. He's that little horn, right? He is also the bear, right? Because the bear comes out of Obama. The bear comes out of Africa. So Obama's the bear. He's specifically not see. In general, it's talking about Belshazzar in general. Now I'm talking about specifically. He's that bear. The bear is tied to number 3. So what you mean the bear is tied to number 3? Okay, the bear had 3 ribs in his mouth. Right? That's 3. So he got everything. And also, he's that little horn. It says the 3 little horn plucked up 3 by the roots. Who is the 3? The 3 is the ram has 2 horns and the goat has 1 horn. He takes them all down. See? So he's still associated with number 3. So what does that mean? You'll see in a minute. See? The bear has 3 ribs in his mouth. The bear also represents the Levites that went into captivity with us. Like I said, most of Africa are Levites. Just some got caught up, so they're Levites in there with us. That's why Elijah was a Levite. It tells you Elijah was a Levite. He raised up the Levites here, right? The widow's son, he raised up the Levites. That's the so-called Nation of Islam. He raised them up. But he could not raise up Lazarus. It would take Suleiman to raise up Lazarus, right? That's the Shabazz. Okay. The bear has 3 ribs in his mouth. The bear also represents the Levites that went into captivity with us, that portion that went in with us. It was Daniel, Belteshazzar, now Daniel is the Belteshazzar, his 3 companions, Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego, that were in captivity. So that tells you who they are. There's three of them. They're the Levites that's in captivity with Daniel. Those you get your feet on, brothers and sisters. Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego are the Levites that are here in captivity with us. And those that listen to him, they was in the fire too, because remember, they was all in the furnace together. Because you don't hear, only time you hear about them is when they first come on in captivity, and then when they're in the furnace. And the furnace represents America, because we're all in the furnace, but they wasn't burnt. We wasn't burnt. But the Chaldeans that put us in, they all got destroyed in the furnace. Because Chaldeans is bad Daniel's word for Caucasians. See, they tried to burn us up in the furnace, they did, and they ended up getting burned up because I told you America gonna be destroyed and burned up. So you read the whole story. They got real hot. It got 7 times hot. They still couldn't do it. They said Daniel looked like the son of God. He was in there, and fire wasn't affecting him and the Levites that was with him, right? So next thing you know, the fire was so hot. They made the fire hot that it burned up them. That pushed in the Chaldeans, which was Americans, because I said they're gonna burn up in the fire too, trying to go backfire, burn them up. See. So his companion in captivity represents the Levites. That's who Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego is. Okay. Those studying angel, you got a question to ask, brothers and sisters. The only bad question when you don't ask. This your mind. And you're gonna be some of you, all of you, you're gonna be teachers. Your sisters, no pressure on you. You're not obligated to anything. But you're gonna be teaching your fellow sisters. And you brothers, and I tell you, everybody, man, those you don't know these angel warriors, they tough, boy. They good. They really they come along. I mean, if they go back and look at how they were 2 years ago, look at it now, they know they're whole different people. And they're wise too. And you'd be smart to leave them alone. Might put something on you that you wasn't expecting. What's going on here? Okay. So here I got many, right? Belshazzar. Belshazzar. See, I'm showing many, that's the brass. I showed the tree there. And Perez represents America, right? And we're right in the middle. Belshazzar. That's the Shabazz and Levites. And they went under their control. Okay, here we go, brothers and sisters. This is your critique. This way, some of you really gonna have a real severe headache. Okay. Now you're gonna warm you up a little bit. Ancient of days. I watched the thrones were put in place in ancient days. They say cast down. These translations. Throne were cast down. That's bad translation here. Most of them say cast down. Few of them say thrones put in place. Right? No, thrones are cast down. That's when Farrakhan, right? When this happens, when they're out and I'm in a few more days, right? Their thrones are cast down. They're cast out. The master of the covenant comes in and cleans it up with soap, cleans up the mess. Whose mess he clean up, brothers and sisters? Elijah's mess? Muhammad's mess? Who's clean up mess? Gotta be Farrakhan's mess. And the Angel of Days was seated. Who's the Angel of Days? He had hair like lamb's wool. That can't be Master Muhammad, and it can't be Farrakhan either. It can't. Okay? His statement, in fact, it can't be Elijah Muhammad, because Elijah Muhammad was bald when he left here. He had no hair. Right? And Angel of Days was seated. His garments was white as snow, and hair of his head was like pure wool. Nappy. See? The throne was a fiery flame. That means we're still in America. It's like the wheel. No, the wheel doesn't have no flames coming out of it. It's not even operating that principle. It's operating, they use proton engines. I'm not going to go into that. Those, they never figured that one out, but they use a proton engine, I can tell you that much. right? His throne was a fiery flame. His wheels a burning fire. A fiery stream issued and came forth from before him. Read the furnace. That's where that flames, right? So we still here. And Daniel, ancient days represents Daniel. So we're in the furnace, right? And thousand mentioned him. 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. See, he just resurrected Lazarus. See, at this time, once he cast out the demons, he seated back in Elijah's seat, because now he got the son of perdition, right? Then he left because he's trying to send these doctrine and everything else. Once he's thrown out and Suleiman seated, then that's when Lazarus raised, but he gets a little help from Master Muhammad because he takes down false Israel, which is pretending to be us. Once that's done, that's the abomination of desolation. Once that's done, it's clear that they could not possibly truly Abraham. That means it's universally clear that we are, and that's going to all hell break loose in this country. Okay. And that's how people going to wake up, because they telling you that but it tells right in Scripture, it says, we see Jerusalem surrounded by armies, know its destruction is near. That means that they were true seed of Abraham. That couldn't happen, because it says once you return, you never be uprooted. And Jerusalem is the capital of what? Who controls Jerusalem? False Israel. That means that they're going to be destroyed. That means they're not true seed of Abraham. It tells you right there in the Scripture. But when that happens, right, then that lie that's been spread all over the world for 70-some years is gone. And we had a proof that we are true seed of Abraham, because we did the 400 years here. We 1619 to 2019, 2020 counted. The plague is, like I said, that would kill the firstborn and pass over us. Firstborn is the elderly. Just like I said, see? So that'd be totally clear. And passing over us. Just check the World Health Organization. They did a paper several months ago saying they couldn't understand why this plague was not affecting Black Africa or Haiti or any other place other than blacks, except these black-faced demons. Right? Okay. The court was seated. I mean, he's the judge. The court was seated. And the books are open. See, his land, his books. And the books open now, so it's unsealed now. And I watched it because the sound of the prophet's words, which the horn was speaking. This horn was speaking. So this horn, remember the horn? So that little horn that took down 3 horns? Who's the 3 horns? Goat had 1 horn, and the ram had 2 horns. He was bound to take both of them. This little horn plus both of them, it destroys both of them. Right? But it had a mouth. It said this horn was speaking. It had a mouth that's speaking pompous words. See, the mouth is Farrakhan. You know, I'm going to tell you some stuff in a few minutes, brothers and sisters. And sound of the words which the horn was speaking, the pompous sound, pompous. Now he's all this, he's all that, right? Because the sound of pompous. And I watched the beast was slain. That means that during this time, that's when America's going to be slain, right? And their domination taken away, the dominion taken away. The lives will belong for a season of time. That means America's dominion's gone. But Europeans, they still ain't finished yet. America's the first to go. No, Britain is the first to go. Britain is gone. Britain is the first to go. America's right behind it. I was watching a night vision, and behold, one like the Son of Man. He ain't the Son of Man, it's one like the Son of Man, coming with the clouds of heaven. That's Master Muhammad now. He's coming ancient days, and he's got nappy hair. So he ain't coming to Farrakhan. He's not coming to Elijah. Elijah's boy-headed. So he's coming to this person that got nappy hair. Ancient days that's sitting in Elijah's seat. Right? He came to ancient days, and they brought him near before him. Then he was given dominion and glory and kingdom. Read this carefully now. That all the people, nation, language serve him. His dominion, everlasting dominion, which shall not pass away. His kingdom is one that will not be destroyed. We know that's Master Muhammad. He's going to have dominion. He's going to control everything. We told that. But somebody's giving it to him. Who's giving it to him? Who's giving it to him? Who does he deliver? They deliver who he wants to deliver, or he deliver those in the book, in Lamb's Book of Life. Who determines who's going to the kingdom? Does Master Muhammad determine who's going to the kingdom, or does the Lamb determine who's going to the kingdom? Because he only delivers those in the Lamb, in the Book of Life. It's the only ones that goes in Revelation is in Lamb's Book of Life. Period. He gets the kingdom from him, because Lamb is the 25th scientist. he only comes in, he only shows himself during this period of time because it's the first time in history all the scientists said, look, you gotta do this one. You gotta do this one. Because the time of unprecedented trouble is worse than when they blow the moon away, it's worse than gender wars, it's worse than fire wars, right? This is the worst time, unprecedented times, and the only one that can deal with this, because you don't want to open that book. You don't want to open the book, then you don't want to break the seals. You gotta be you. So they pull him out, right? Out of his hiding place. They told his hiding place to be in hiding place, Greek, triple darkness, the hiding place. They pull him out because he's the only one that can handle it. And set this up. Said the Most High, you read the angel, the Most High will set the kingdom up and give it to Master Muhammad, because he's the God for this period, this season, the 6,000-year period. He said something like Dr. Yaqub was the God for the 6,000 years just passed. He didn't live the whole time, but he set it up. He was a God for it. So you have a God for every 6,000-year period. You have 4 6,000-year period for every 4,000-year cycle. So Master Muhammad is the one for this one. So 25th sign just come out. Elijah Muhammad said, it'll be the 25th sign. He said, the only one come out to him will be God. He ain't got to teach you what to Master Muhammad. Master Muhammad not come teach anybody anything. He already done that. He said, the measure of the covenant. The only one come out to him will be God himself. And said he didn't come out to be worshipped. Like that dummy said something. He come out because he want to be worshipped. No, he don't want to be worshipped. That's why he stayed hidden. He said hidden in the public eye for 76 trillion years. That means he wasn't here, he was here. He is the hermit. He's not looking to be worshipped. Because he's one with his people. With brothers and sisters. That's why I said your children Most High with brothers and sisters. You don't be worshipped. But you have some people who do that. So you wear them to death. Hey, we do this, so he keep himself hidden, not like in a closet somewhere. Like Muhammad said, he can read your thoughts, you can't read his thoughts, and if he see it, you can recognize him, he take it out of your mind. Because he don't want you to be bothering him. He want to live his own life. Like Muhammad taught that. Everything Muhammad taught wasn't in mess with black man. But you may get up on, I was there in 1775. I print some of that stuff. See, we not like I said, Suleiman or Joshua, Jesus, what you call it, he didn't want to waste time with Elijah's followers. He said, no, I ain't gonna waste time with them. But like putting old wine in new vessels, you take and stir both of them, you mess both of them up. See? Because their minds ain't strong enough anyway. See? So they have to go through, you gotta get special attention. That's tribulation. See? To see if they can strengthen their brains strong enough to uplift the angel. Because you can't uplift the angel, you're not getting in the kingdom. That's what you need. You have to be able to upload that software, because the world come in and be nothing. Elijah Muhammad told you, the scripture tell you, you can't imagine what it's gonna be like. Because your brain has to be so powerful, your mind, the mind you have to deal with it is so powerful. And that's what injury. If you can't do an injury, you ain't gonna be able to deal with that. You ain't gonna be able to deal with the complexity of it. This is ABC stuff here. Electricity here, we don't even need electricity there. They not like they do it. Right? You got wires and that kind of stuff. You can take and build a magnet, right? And if you want to use electricity, you don't have to pump it out from the state. You just have to put in what make money off of you. You generate a magnet, a special kind of magnet. You put it in your basement, and that generates all electricity you need. You don't have to pay for it forever. Just to generate all electricity you need. See, they can do that now to some extent. Okay? But it's all about money, capitalism. So who's giving it to them? Ask them these questions. You want to tell them about the Bible? You should beat preachers over the head with them. Man, you gotta listen to Elijah, because you see right there said the Bible, Elijah gonna come. Yeah, they beat him on the head with it. And then when the truth comes out, they don't want to hear it. All right, man, what about Measure Cutter? Oh man. So they full of shit. There go, use that word. You don't want me to use those words, take out the language. When we get back to our original language, those words ain't in there. But in fact, that's what you are. You're full of shit. But I'm gonna tell you like it is. I ain't gonna butter it up for you. Okay, here we go. Now, that Pharaoh out of the mouth. I, Daniel, was breathing my spirit within my body, and the vision of my head troubled me. I came near to the one who stood by and asked him the truth of this. talking about Gabriel now. So he told me and made known to me the interpretation of these things. The great beasts, which are four kings, which rise out of the earth. I'm talking about these beasts. But the saints of the Most High shall receive the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. Now, the saints represents us, or in part. Therefore, why, right? And it said this mouth made war with the saints and took them down for 42 years. Then who is that took them down? Because that hasn't happened. That means you got 42 years of heaven, hell in front of you. That means Farrakhan was the one. 40-some years. He ain't done anything. He ain't produced anything. He ripped up everybody. He produced a damn thing. Scientology and everything else. Why you got to go to the white man to get knowledge? What's wrong with the Quran? What's wrong? He's so wise. I don't have to go to ask him anything. Then I wish to know the truth by the fourth beast, which was different from the others. Remember, that fourth beast, that's the bear, was different from the cats. So both the lion and the other one after, there was a leopard. So that's why he was different. See, you think some other, right? And exceeding dreadful with teeth of iron and nails of brass, which devoured. You know, it was a composite kingdom, right? And devoured broken pieces and trampled the rest of his feet. And 10 horns that were on his head, and the other horns came up before which 3 fell. So it was this horn came up, horn that took down 3 of them. Who's the 3 that took down? You think it's take 3 of the 10. No, the 3 is the ram and the goat. That's 3 horns. Takes out both of them, right? That takes out America, Britain, and takes out the leopard, which is China, India. And the 10 horns are with foot, and 10 horns that were in his head, and other horns came up before which 3 fell. Named that horn that had eyes and a mouth. Had eyes and a mouth. See, because it was like Master Muhammad. Because I'm gonna show you in a minute, right? It had a mouth, which spoke pompous words. See, now we know the horn. I told you, horn is Obama, whose appearance was great as fellows. I watched, and the same horn was making war with the saints, rebelled against them. So, like this. Now it says the horn made war with the saints, but the horn had a mouth. What does that mean? What does that mean? He had eyes, so he was Lucifer because he was just like, I want to be like the Most High. Right? You ready, brothers and sisters? I know you're not ready. Do you remember when Farrakhan, we got it on tape? When Obama was running, remember Farrakhan was talking about Obama was the Messiah? Remember saying Obama was Messiah? We got him on tape saying it. Why was he calling up Obama the Messiah? Why was he calling Obama the Messiah? See? Because him and Obama was tight. What it's telling you is, right, is that Obama is pulling the strings in the background. It's telling you here that the same thing it says, and we talk about that in a minute, right? Yeah, we're going to get to that in a minute. So I'm going to jump the gun a little bit, right? Talking about the one that was, is not, yet is. So he was in, that's the one on the white horse, the first, not chapter 19, that's Master Muhammad. 1 chapter 2 says, when the first seal, says he went for a conquer and a conquer. That means he had 2 conquests to make. The first one, American president. The next one is quasi, what you want to call emperor United Africa, right? No, non-Islamic. Because it's not Africa is getting ready to split in 2 parts. Islamic Africa and non-Islamic Africa. Not Islamic Africa is going to go with Master Muhammad. Non-Islamic can go with him. See? Because he's African. He's not one of us. He's Levite. But see, when this war starts, you'll get that's why it's telling you that the crowns shifted to the other beasts. It went from the authority, went there, because I told you another kingdom's coming up behind this. See, you don't know about that. Elijah didn't tell you about it. Another kingdom comes behind this. But we don't have to worry about it because we're not going to be under that kingdom, but that kingdom's going to attack us. Another kingdom come behind this. And that kingdom, that when we get this birth engine I was telling you about, it's going to things come back together. So that means China's going to take, Taiwan's going to take control of the whole region, Japan, all that. It's going to get all that back. Because all that was under control of the European countries. They split all that up. Africa's going to not be split anymore. It's coming in 2 parts. It's going back to 2 parts. It's going to be united. Non-Islamic Africa and Islamic Africa. You're going to see that. I say you're gonna see things in the next year or two that you never thought you were gonna see before. The whole thing's gonna change. I said, shock it out. Everything's gonna change dramatically. That's what you're gonna be ready to see. See, you know, over in India, all those countries come back, all these countries come back together. Because they was divided, they were divided, kept divided by the Europeans, but now Europeans are losing power. They can't can't maintain division anymore. So now they come back. Because what's going? They fight. How they gonna stop China taking Taiwan back? See, all these things coming back together, and so you're gonna find just like in the '60s. You remember how in the '60s? Remember the last time we got an energy burst in the '60s, right? What happened? Then all of a sudden, Africa was colonized. They wouldn't colonize anymore. When also the Asian countries, Middle East countries, right? They broke out of British rule. You see, all these things, suddenly all these things happened. Then what happened here? We had social revolution here. All these things happened dramatically. And if you go back 20, 50 years earlier, then you go 50 years earlier, that was so-called civil war and everything. You understand it happened in 50-year cycles because the energy coming back, they call it in the Quran, says the momentous in heaven's earth, momentous in heaven and earth, but coming about sudden. That means energy, the universe is contracting now, so energy is coming back to us, we're being energized. So it says it comes momentous in heavens and earth, but it comes about sudden means the earth has to absorb it and convert it into a form we can use. That takes a while to do that. And then but it comes to you all of a sudden. That means suddenly you're gonna have a sudden burst of energy that's gonna change everything. You know, 60s changed everything in America. 60s changed everything in America. And the 20s did too. And the 60s, 1860s changed everything. So you can have that happen right here. And your music goes with it too. Because when the blues come out in the 1860s, because all this music come, what music is ruling the planet? Ours or Beethoven or Bach? You know, or Mozart, or is it us? Who's everybody jamming to? So blues, and then 50 years later, what? Jazz, because now we start getting jazzy. 50 years later, right? Motown. I'm black and I'm proud. Now we're 50 years into that. And our new music's about to come out, and we're about the total separation. Because we was getting close separation, but you had the demons, they wanted integration, we wanted separation. Back in the 20s, right? They wanted Eurocentric, we wanted Afrocentric. Back in 50 years before that, right? We wanted to feed the plantation, they wanted to sharecrop. Now, this time, we actually leave it, they're staying here. See? So, it's telling you here that Obama's behind this, that he's controlling, he's got Farrakhan, and he's controlling Farrakhan. Farrakhan's his mouth. He's not Elijah's mouth anymore. He's Farrakhan, he's Obama's mouth, because Obama's pulling seam, they stand it. He's pulling seam behind the back, because he got control of the Democratic Party, and the whole thing, that's why I tell Obama, stop this devil stuff and everything else, man, just go with me. Kill that stuff. We're gonna stay here. We're gonna take America. Remember, that's the whole thing. He's gonna take America. We're gonna take America, and that's where you got Democrat. We're gonna take America. So we're gonna stay here. We're gonna get America. That's why he's listening to him. He ain't finding Elijah Muhammad's teeth, but you gotta keep saying to keep you involved, track you. It's like a bait on a hook, right? You use Elijah Muhammad's teachings, master black man, and fall of America and stuff. That's bait. But when you bite on it, he pulls you in. You don't get that. You get L. Ron Hubbard. You get staying here. You get devils in your eye. You don't get everything against it Elijah Muhammad's talking about. Because Obama's controlling behind the scenes. That's what Church says. He was, but is not, yet is. I told you it's going to get rough for you, brothers. That's what it's telling you. That's why I'm going down here, because like I said, that I couldn't really reveal to this to now anyway. The thing is that this is so powerful to tell you some things. There's more meat on it than angel does. So that's what it's telling you. It says, Farrakhan is Obama's man. See, I can go more in detail about that, but I think let's see what happens. What else I have here? Maybe I'll say more. Okay. Okay, let me see what it said, because this, I forgot this. let's read this continuously. It says, I was watching, the same horn was making war against the saints and rebelling against them. Right? The same horn was making war against them. They make against it, they rebelled against the saints. So who is this horn that made it? Until the age of days came. So the age of days is about to come. That means the saints, when the age of days shows up, they were still under control of this horn. They had this mouth. Farrakhan speaking, but behind the scenes, Obama is the one that's at war with the Nation of Islam and at war with us. He's telling Farrakhan, he's feeding him, telling what to do to keep us down. He's working behind the scenes. Because Farrakhan is just his mouth. See? But they plan on taking over the country, all this BS is going on and everything else, and they're going to promise him that, well, y'all be part of our kingdom. See? That's what's going on, brothers and sisters, in the background. Until any days came and judgment made in favor of the saints. See? So in other words, he was able to rescue the saints. That's what it tells you in Mark. The saints wanted to be with Jesus or Suleiman, right? But the legion, Louis Eugene Grounds, NOI backwards, that's Farrakhan's real name, Louis Eugene Grounds, turned NOI backwards, right? His name was Legion. He put the kibosh on. Nah, man, what you doing here? Why you bothering us? But it said the saints, they wanted to get with him, but he was stopping them. See? And judgments gave in favor of the saints. See? And the Most High came, saints of the Most High. And time came for the saints to possess the kingdom. Now it's time for the resurrection. It's time for us to take the kingdom. Thus he said, the fourth beast shall be a fourth kingdom on the earth, which shall be different from all other kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, trample it down and break it to pieces. The 10 horns of 10 kings, which shall rise from this kingdom. See? That means they're going to transform into that kingdom, that fourth kingdom, right? And it's going to trample down, take control of everything, right? And we rise, and from that kingdom, another shall rise after him. He shall be different from the first one, and shall subdue 3 kingdoms. See, that's what I'm telling you. That's that bear again. That bear is going to be ruling this next kingdom that's coming behind it. It says it's only going to be for a short period of time. It says he only has short time left. It says he's only going to reign for a short time. And then they're going to attack us. That's the end of them. But it's going to be the fourth king. It's only going to last for a short, very short time. Right? It shall be different from the first one. That's what I'm talking about. The war of the latter days. I never really talked about the first one. Let's talk about it now. It shall be different from the first one. They shall subdue 3 kings, shall speak pompous words against the Most High. See? They'll be bad mouth and everything, Suleiman and all that stuff, right? But they're going to have a lot of power. They're going to control the whole planet, except for us. Shall persecute the saints of the Most High after the tribulation period, right? And shall intend to change times and law. That's what Farrakhan do, try to change the times and law. That's what he's trying to do. Then shall saints be given into his hand. See, that's what we're talking about. Saints was under control of Farrakhan for a time and half a time, right? But the court shall be seated. See, remember? The court was seated when ancient days come. They got to read this carefully. So that means this was before the ancient days sit. Then the court should be seated. Because it says when he was seated there, he overcame them until the ancient days came. Read it earlier. Until he would conceive them until the ancient days sit. Say the same thing here. So you're trying to read it in chronological order. It's not. Just read it carefully, right? And they shall, but the court shall be seated, and they shall be taken, and they shall take away his dominion, to consume and destroy it forever. Then the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven gives to the people, the saints of the Most High. His kingdom, everlasting kingdom, all the demons shall serve and obey him. Then this is the end of the account. As for me, Daniel, my thoughts greatly troubled me, my conscience changed. I kept the matter in my heart. He kept it to himself. I've been keeping it to myself for years. Because there's another kingdom coming after this. It's only going to last for a short time. See? I talked about it in this book I showed you. See? I can find it real quick. Well, in this place again. Let's say brothers and sisters. I call it, here it is. I call it, been 30 years ago. I don't know if anybody can see this. I call it the war, Tekel, the war between the black struggle of the black nations, the war between Shabazz and the Levites. That's their last war. Lucifer and Michael and Suleiman. The last war. I didn't know his name at that time. I knew what he would be like. That's Obama. He'd be African, I got it in there. His mother be white, his father be black, he's like Farrakhan, back Master Muhammad. See? He'd be president, but I didn't know what his name would be. See? This book right here. Been 30 years ago. Anyway, now we're here. Okay. So now I'm revealing it. I've been very reluctant because it's so complicated. And only those who study angel might catch up with it. Otherwise, everybody, unless you're a prodigy. Okay. Now this is we're gonna pretty much close out here, bro. Since I'm this couple of slides here. This is gonna be, you better put your seatbelt on this one also, brothers and sisters. I told you, Daniel is special. Master Muhammad. Now, 24th day of the month, and I was set by the side of the great river that is the Tigris. I lifted my eyes and looked, and behold, a certain man clothed in linen, whose waist was girded with gold of Uphaz. Gold represents us, right? His eyes like torches of fire. No. And his body was like beryl, his face like appearance of lightning. His eyes were like torches of fire. Only people have eyes is this horn and this person. See? But this is Michael. This is Master Muhammad. See? That's why he says he's like him. Lucifer wants to be like him. He's envious of Michael. That's why he got to fight him. Because he wanted to be the top finger. He's one of the mind scientists, but he wants to be the 24th son. He wants to be the best, but he can't. Right? But he wants to take advantage. He now sees Suleiman, right? Suffered energy deprivation because it said he would see him, and when an angel says you see him, like he was slave and found his earth, so they catch him in a weak state, so they think he can take over. I want to be like the Most High. I'm gonna set my throne in the north. See, I'll sit in heaven. All this stuff. His arms is like burnished bronze in color and sounds words like the voice of multitude. Now Daniel, man, watch this closely. Read this very carefully, bro. Because those of you that know me know what I'm talking about here. Because you know that this happened, right? I tell you, Daniel's, Daniel long saw the vision, for the men who were with me did not see the vision, but a great terror fell upon them. So they fled to hide themselves. Therefore I was left alone. I saw this great vision, and no strength remained in me. I lost all my strength. My vigor was turned into frailty in me. I retained no strength. Yet heard the sound of his word. That's the first time he come in contact with Master Muhammad. The first time. And all the time he was there, the first time. And right, he has contact, right? But he speaks to him. He hears him. He hears the voice from him. And I retained no strength. I was in a situation that said, Daniel's situation, he had no strength. He couldn't do anything. It was just, all strength was gone. Yet I heard the sound of his words. See, while I heard the sound, and while I heard the sound of words, I was in deep sleep, my face to the ground. I was totally wiped out. Now, does that ever happen to anybody you know? And did I tell you that while that was happening, that they called out the Master Muhammad spoke to him? Now, I tell you that. So I told you, Daniel's all there. So those of you familiar with what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. I'll leave it there. The rest of you have no idea what I'm talking about. But some of you know. So you know I ain't making this stuff up. Okay, let's look at this. I think this is it, boss. It's a timeline. Here's another one. Get your seatbelt on. Now in the chapters, I think it's 6 chapters that starts off with in the first year or the second year or the third year, whatever. So I put it in, they're not, this not the order they come in, right? But it says in the first year, in the first year, in the first year, then the second year, third year, third year, third year. So what's that all about? Okay. So the first year there was Belshazzar. Remember, that's Obama. So it started from the time that he was president, right? And then it said, and then the first year, right? So the first year, see, what it's telling you, remember, he's floating in the background, so it's still during his time, right? He might not be president, he's still, a lot of people say that he's the real president, right? So they put Darius the Mede. Now Darius is smashed from Muhammad. Darius the Mede, right? Forget about all this stuff. Just keep track of this timeline here. And then it says, okay, I should put this says also in the first year. So in other words, also that means it's only one time, because it also that means it's not twice, because it's referring to the first time. So I should have put it in a different order, right? Darius the Mede of, I can't pronounce that. It sounds something like Alfonso. That's his father, was the king. I told you, original man. That's Master Muhammad's father. The lineage of the Medes. Remember, the Medes are Medes are Jews, right? And the realm of the Chaldeans, Caucasians. So that means because his mother is Jewish, white Jewish. In the realm of the Caucasians, that means telling you white and Jewish. The Caucasian members of white people. It's right there, brothers and sisters, right? Anyway, it's some lineage. So it's telling you where you be, right? Okay. So if you read in there, it says that he takes down Babylon. Darius takes down Babylon. That's I'm not going to make it complicated, get into the stuff about Jonah and everything. Anyway, he's taking out America. He's right. But when he takes out the second year, right, the next thing happens, right? Who's Nebuchadnezzar? That's us. Right? So now we're at home. We're delivered. See? In other words, it's because Belshazzar, he's supposed to have authority over Babylon. So Babylon's taken out, and by Master Muhammad, right? And then the first year, so in that same time, in the second year, next thing happened is we're home. The reign of Nebuchadnezzar, and we're home. Right? And then the third year, the next thing happened that, right? You got Cyrus, king of Persia, right? That's Europeans, right? Because Persia represents America. We're talking about the king of America or the president or whatever, right? So like that. And then you got, in the third year, you got Joachim, king of Judah. That's Britain. Because that was the one that took Daniel into captivity. The British took him into captivity. Right? America took him into Holocaust. Right? So it was the British that started, right? And America came out of the British. So it was Joachim, or whatever, king of Judah. He was the one that actually took Daniel into captivity. You understand what I'm saying? So that's God and Magog's American Britain there, right? And it says, then you got Belshazzar, right? That's Obama. That's when he goes after them. Because remember, he takes down 3 of the horns. First he takes down American Britain. He takes down the ram. He's with the goat. That's what it's talking about, brothers. That's timeline. I can go to much more detail, but I think you get the idea. That's what it's telling. That's why I say, why are you saying the first year, the second year? That's it's sequence. See? So first, he's going to war with Belshazzar, right? That gets us delivered out of here. We're at home. And now Obama takes out, right? He takes out the ram because he's with the goat, right? But he's leading the whole thing. That's why all these say Obama, because he's the one that's leading this whole thing. Then they all get to fight, and he ends up taking control of the whole thing because he takes down China and India. Because you know, when Africa is united, it's more people in Africa than you got in China and India. I don't know if you know that. Because you look, there's countries, but when they're united as a continent, there are more people there than there's in China and India. So they're going to take out China and India. See, and they're going to have control of it. They're going to wipe them out, have control of it. So now they got this huge army, and that's when they come and attack us. When they got to control the whole planet, except us in the Middle East. They come after us. Master Muhammad, he's the Air Force. Suleiman, he's a general on the ground. And they kick ass. They're going to take 6 months, right? And bury the dead. That's the last war. The last war is not this Armageddon. This is a struggle war. But it ain't compared nothing to when the original people, black, because you got scientists going against each other, because Lucifer's a scientist. Obama's a scientist. He's one of the scientists. He's a minor scientist, but he's one of the scientists. It's going to be a war greater. Because remember, when in the gender wars, when they had blew the moon, that was scientists. He went against other scientists. That's what it is. So it's going to be a terrible war, brothers. It's not going to last very long. It's going to be a terrible war. There's mass, I'm not going to do something to them. Mass from hunger, something to make the skin roll off this flesh. It's going to be a dramatic war. And when Quran says, anybody turn on that day, when the enemy's coming, if the only way you turn around, you're going to turn around just to get stronger position. See? And once that happens, sisters, then you know your brothers, right, have stood up, they redeemed themselves in your eyes. Then you'll see a look in those sisters' eyes you never seen before, brothers. Look of admiration, look of love, right? Look of respect that you ain't never seen because you don't deserve it. I'm not putting it out, brothers and sisters. I'm not putting it out, brothers. I ain't putting it out because we all went through this together. I'm included. I'm included. We all went through this all together. We're supposed to take care of the system, we didn't. But the worst part is if we attack the system, put them down, because that's what we did. Master beating us and we was beating them. Come on, brothers. Think about it. I think that's it. Let's see. Okay. That's it, brother. Brothers and sisters. I told you, you've been on for rides. I don't know. I may have lost something. Somebody may speak. Somebody had heart attacks. I don't know. I can talk a lot more, but I don't think I'll do a 3. At least right now. But I go in 3, brothers. So I know I'll totally write most of it out. I told you to be a ride here. Okay. There's a lot of things I can talk to you about, but what did he say? He says a lot of things I will tell you that you cannot bear to hear. There's so much brothers and sisters going on behind the scenes you don't know about. But I think I gave you some idea. That you brothers and sisters that study Angel, I ain't saying to start studying Daniel. But if Daniel is more attuned to the way you think, go for it. Right? But advance. Because our brothers and sisters, they're going to come in a minute. And you need to be ready. You can't get ready once they start coming in. They come in, it says 10,000 times 10,000, 100,000 times 100,000. They come in. They look to you. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. So we're going to leave it there. So let me close out my audio audience here. Okay. Thank you. This is a Black Alert segment of the Fire Zone. Thank you for listening. Fire Zone out. And for you, the audience, thank you for listening. Suleiman, National Covenant, Breaker of 7 Seals. Assalamu alaikum.